Beneath the familiar streets of our modern world lies a secret history, etched in stone and buried in mud. A story of a forgotten global civilization, a cataclysmic event, and a history that may have been rewritten. It is a provocative and controversial theory, dismissed by the mainstream, but fueled by a series of strange and persistent questions. The questions begin with the ground beneath our feet. Why are so many old buildings buried? In cities across the globe, from San Francisco to St. Petersburg, we find the same anomaly. Doors that open halfway up a wall. Grand entrances that have become basement windows. The official explanation is that cities naturally raise their ground level over time. But does that explain this? In cities across the globe, from San Francisco to St. Petersburg, we find the same anomaly. Buildings of immense scale and complexity, which official history claims were built in the 18th and 19th centuries. The theory asks, did our recent ancestors really build these with their horse-drawn carts and simple tools? Or are these buildings orphans, the last survivors of a much older, more advanced civilization? Did our ancestors build them, or did they simply find them and build their own, simpler world around them? The theory points to the great World's Fairs of the late 19th century as further proof. Official history tells us these magnificent cities were temporary structures made of plaster and staff. But the theory asks, could they really build and then immediately tear down entire cities of this scale? Or were the fairs a clever excuse, a way to reveal a pre-existing ancient city and then to destroy it, hiding the evidence of its true age? These questions point to a single radical idea: that a global, technologically advanced civilization existed on Earth in the not-too-distant past. A civilization that mastered architecture, engineering, and perhaps even the science of atmospheric energy. Proponents have given this lost civilization a name found on mysterious old maps of Asia. The theory proposes that Tartaria was not a regional power, but the name for this entire, previous global civilization. A civilization that mastered architecture, engineering, and perhaps even the science of atmospheric energy. The theory suggests a cataclysmic event, a reset that wiped the slate of history clean. Some point to a man-made cause, a zapping of the old world by some unknown energy weapon. But the most popular and most evocative theory is a cataclysm of nature, of biblical proportions. A single global event, a liquefaction of the soil that buried the old world. The theory claims this flood buried the great cities of the Tartarian Empire 10, 20, even 30 feet deep. It was a global reset, wiping out not just the civilization, but the memory of it. And what of the people? The theory suggests there were very few survivors. These few survivors, the inheritors of the buried world, were left with a monumental task. They cleared the tops of the old buildings and established a new ground level many feet above the old one. This, the theory claims, is the true origin of our 19th century cities. And the old maps of Tartaria? They were the last surviving remnants of the old world's geography. The theory then makes its final, darkest claim, that this entire history has been deliberately hidden from us, that our official history is a fiction, written to make us believe we are the pinnacle of civilization, not merely its inheritors. It is a grand, all-encompassing, and terrifying theory. A completely different story of our past. A story that asks us to question everything we think we know about the world and about our own history. It is an incredible and deeply unsettling idea. But is there any truth to it?
To find out, we must turn from the world of speculation to the world of science.
Let's begin with the buried windows. Is this evidence of a cataclysm or just the normal life of a city? Over decades, streets are repaved, water mains are added, sidewalks are replaced, each new layer raising the ground level. What was once a ground floor entrance naturally becomes a basement window over the course of a century. And what of the orphan buildings, the grand structures in a sea of mud and shacks? History shows these were not found, but were anchor tenants, built first to attract people and investment to a new frontier town. The smaller, simpler buildings came later. The photos did not capture a lost world, but the very first moment of a new one being born. And the global style of architecture? It was not the product of a single empire, but of a single global education. These architects then returned to their home countries and built what they had been taught, creating a truly international style. And what of the Great Mud Flood itself? Geologists have searched for the evidence of such a recent global event. The geological record is clear. No such cataclysm has ever occurred in human history. The secret history of the mud flood, it turns out, is not a history of the Earth. It is a history of the human imagination. It is a modern myth, born in the age of the internet, where questions can travel faster than answers. The theory is a compelling story, but it is built by selecting a few strange photos while ignoring mountains of evidence to the contrary. For every photo of a grand building in a muddy street, there are 1,000 photos showing the actual, documented construction from the ground up. They did not have modern power tools, but they had something else, an immense supply of cheap labor and time. What seems impossible for us today was simply a matter of manpower and political will for the Victorians. The World's Fairs were indeed temporary, but they were a massive statement of national pride and industrial might. They were designed to be torn down, a spectacular but temporary dream, to show that the host nation was so rich it could afford to be wasteful. And the name Tartary on old maps? It was a real term, but not for a global empire. It was a vague European catch-all term for the vast, unknown lands of Central Asia, home to the Mongol hordes and their descendants. So, the science is clear. There was no mud flood, there was no Tartarian world empire. But this raises a more interesting question. Why is this story so popular now? What does it say about our own time? The theory offers a simple, dramatic answer to a complex world. It's easier to believe in a single great cataclysm than to study the messy, slow, and complicated processes of real history. It speaks to a feeling that our modern world is a fallen, degraded version of a better past. A feeling that our ancestors were not primitive, but were giants, and we are but dwarves living among their ruins. Most of all, it speaks to a deep distrust of official sources and a desire to be your own researcher. It is a historical mystery for the internet age, where every old photograph can be a clue. But without historical context or scientific rigor, it becomes a fantasy, a game of connecting dots that are not there. The truth of our cities is not a story of a great reset, but a story of constant, messy, and fascinating change. A story of real people, real challenges, and real achievements. Written not in mud, but in the historical record. The secret history is not beneath our feet. It is in the archives, waiting for those who have the patience to look. The world is full of real mysteries, of lost cities and forgotten histories. But the Great Mud Flood is not one of them. It is a modern myth, a story that tells us less about our hidden past and more about our anxious present.
a search for a lost golden age to escape the challenges of our own, and a reminder that history is not a simple story to be found, but a complex puzzle to be solved. The theory of a great reset is not history, but it is itself a fascinating piece of modern folklore.
It was born in the age of the internet, a time of immense information and immense anxiety.
The story provides a grand, unified answer for a world that can feel chaotic and out of control. It's easier to believe in a single secret cabal than to accept the messy, slow, and often random nature of real history.
The theory speaks to a feeling that our modern world is a fallen, degraded version of a better past.
A feeling that our ancestors were not primitive, but were giants, and we are but dwarfs living among their ruins. Most of all, it speaks to a deep distrust of official sources and a desire to be your own researcher.
The theory speaks to a feeling that our modern world is a fallen, degraded version of a better past.
But without historical context or scientific rigor, it becomes a fantasy, a game of connecting dots that are not there. The truth of our cities is not a story of a great reset, but a story of constant, messy, and fascinating change. A story of real people, real challenges, and real achievements, written not in mud, but in the historical record. The secret history is not beneath our feet. It is in the archives, waiting for those with the patience to look. The world is full of real mysteries, of lost cities and forgotten histories. But the Great Mud Flood is not one of them. It is a modern myth, a story that tells us less about our hidden past and more about our anxious present. A search for a lost golden age to escape the challenges of our own. And a reminder that history is not a simple story to be found, but a complex puzzle to be solved. The questions the theory asks about our cities are good questions, but the answers are not found in myth. They are found in the patient, documented, and verifiable study of our own very real human past. The truth is not a secret hidden by a powerful cabal. It is simply quiet and complex. And the world around us is not the ruin of a lost Eden. It is the messy, challenging, and magnificent creation of our own, very real ancestors. The answers are not in the mud. They are in the archives. A secret history, not of a great reset, but of the constant human struggle to build, to change, and to endure. A story that is not buried beneath our feet, but is all around us if we only choose to look. The theory of the mud flood is not history, but the story itself tells us something true about our own time. It reflects a desire for a history that is more exciting, more magical than the one we are told. It gives us a lost golden age, a utopia that makes our own complex world seem fallen and corrupt. A feeling that our ancestors were not primitive, but were giants, and we are but dwarfs living among their ruins. And it provides a single, simple villain for all the world's problems, a shadowy cabal that hid the truth. This is the classic structure of a conspiracy theory. It is a story that provides comfort and a sense of special knowledge. But this sense of finding a hidden truth can be an illusion, a beautiful pattern connected by strings of speculation. The real history of our cities is not a secret. It is simply complex and quieter than the myth. A story of real people, real challenges, and real achievements, written not in mud, but in the historical record. The true secrets are not buried in a global cataclysm. They are waiting patiently in the archives. The world is full of real, fascinating mysteries that we have yet to solve. But the Great Mud Flood is not one of them. It is a modern myth.
A story that tells us less about our hidden past and more about our anxious present. A search for a lost golden age to escape the challenges and the complexities of our own.
History is not a simple story to be found. It is a complex puzzle to be solved. The questions the theory asks about our cities are good questions. The answers, however, are not found in myth. They are found in the patient, documented, and verifiable study of our own very real human past.
The truth is not a secret, hidden by a powerful cabal. It is simply quiet and complex.
The world around us is not the ruin of a lost Eden. It is the messy, magnificent creation of our own ancestors. A secret history, not of a great reset, but of the constant human struggle to build, to change, and to endure.